and welcome back to the Grow Taller Guru YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed my new intro. It has a bit of a 80s vibe to it, which makes sense because that was the era I was born in. If you're new to the channel, then just to let you know that I'm Lance Ward and I have been helping people to grow taller since 2009. Here on the YouTube channel, you are going to learn all the tips and tricks to growing taller and encouraging a second or even third growth spurt naturally so that you can get to your maximum potential height. To enable you to do all the great things that are so much harder to do when you're shorter. Whether that's getting picked for the basketball team, better dating opportunities, or just so people stop making fun of you. I will show you the way and teach you what to do. For existing subscribers, you're probably wondering, where the hell has Lance been for the past 9 months since he uploaded his last video? Well, even before the COVID-19 pandemic that put us all into lockdown, I was working on something special for everyone who wants to grow taller in 2020. I have migrated the GTPS 2.0 to a new website that's just going to make it a lot simpler, and also it's a lot easier to use on a mobile device. But the most exciting thing is a 4-part video series in which I go into depth about my height backstory and other people's height backstories. Plus, I'll also share 2 free tips that you can use today to encourage a second or even third growth spurt. Now, the 4-part video series is time sensitive and is only available for the next 10 days. So, before watching the rest of this video, please click the link in the description box and enter your details. You don't need to watch the first video today, but enter your email address so I can send you the links. So, pause the video now and enter your details so you don't forget. Now then, let's move on with today's video. How to grow taller during quarantine. As I'm sure you're aware, most of the world has been in lockdown since the coronavirus, aka COVID-19 outbreak. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between when you say COVID-19 and when you say coronavirus.
I think when I'm around smart people, I'll say COVID-19, and then when I'm around anyone else, I'll just say coronavirus, but...
Here in the UK, we went into lockdown on the 23rd of March. And a lot of Europe went into lockdown a lot earlier, and the US went into lockdown a lot later. This had a huge effect on everyone, with limited access to gyms, parks, stadiums, specialist food stores, swimming pools, and also community centres. It has left many of you wondering, how on earth will I be able to grow taller with such limitations? I have had many messages from people saying such things as, I won't bother growing taller until 2021, and it's pointless growing taller in these unprecedented times. Contrary to these beliefs, you may be surprised to hear that I believe there has never been a better time to grow taller. And here's why. Number 1, everything is shut, so you won't get FOMO, which stands for the fear of missing out. Unless you're one of the few working, most people will be at home, in a supermarket, or doing some form of daily exercise. Rest assured, your friends won't be meeting up, going to a house party, and then hitting the clubs in the early hours. Number 2, because you'll most likely be off work, you'll have plenty of time to lay down and learn a grow taller routine and fit it into your schedule. Anything worth having generally takes a bit of time and effort, and now you have the perfect excuse to start your grow taller journey. Number 3, big events like football matches, concerts and festivals have been cancelled to give you plenty of time to focus on what's important. Growing taller. Number 4, many people struggle to say no to family and friends over their own priorities. Thanks to the pandemic, you no longer have to agree to such commitments. You don't have to speak or meet with anyone outside your own household. When you're in public, you must keep 2 meters apart. And if you're outside, you must keep moving. No time to just sit and chat. Which is great for you. No more pointless family meals or going to church on a Sunday. It means you can finally take the time needed to grow taller and increase your height significantly. Number 5, it's harder to get your hands on junk foods. Here in the UK, many of the big food franchises such as McDonald's, KFC and Burger King all went to a delivery-only service. Then, a few weeks later, all of them closed. They are slowly starting to reopen again for deliveries only, but the point is that it was very hard, or still is very hard, to get your hands on junk food. You have to be even more purposeful when shopping at the supermarket or grocery store, as they are working on reduced opening hours. Plus, the government is encouraging you to shop less frequently to avoid contact with others, which means you need to plan your eating habits with a lot more purpose. This is great for people who are looking to get a growth spurt though, because they can be very strategic about their eating habits. Number 6, smoking. Now, you shouldn't really be smoking at the best of times, especially if you're looking to grow taller. You starve your body of the oxygen that it needs every day, and you significantly reduce your height if you smoke full time. Now, I don't mean weed or marijuana, I mean tobacco. Even with all the health warnings, people continue to smoke. But I can understand it, as I used to be a smoker myself, and it's highly addictive. But due to the many coronavirus deaths in Italy, where the majority of its population smoke, many smokers around the world are questioning whether they should smoke, as it dramatically increases the mortality rate. So, the last benefit is that you're more likely to stop smoking compared to any other time. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be some challenges during this time. The main one is finding alternatives to exercises that you may have done in your local gym, park or community centre. The second thing you may struggle with is finding specific foods, as some foods are in high demand during quarantine. For example, here in the UK, many people are at home and learning how to bake, so I'm finding that eggs are very hard to get hold of at this time, because eggs are one of the main ingredients used in baking. When Spain went into complete lockdown, tomatoes were out of stock everywhere as shipments were put on hold, and we import a lot of our vegetables from Spain. Anyway, in this video I want to give you 7 strategies for encouraging a growth spurt during lockdown. I want you to use this lockdown as a kind of hibernation for your height. When you've begun the lockdown, many of your friends and family would have seen you at your short height. But in 6 months, when this is all over, you'll be like the caterpillar that turned into the butterfly. You'll be taller than ever before, and you'll be so happy that you spent your time pursuing something that was productive, rather than binging on endless Netflix series and becoming short because of it. Now, these are not in any order of importance as such. I have just listed them in a somewhat logical order from the time that you wake up till the time you go to sleep. Okay, so strategy number 1. Don't set an alarm. Yes, this is the
perfect opportunity to sleep whenever you feel like it.
But no, unfortunately, this is not an excuse to be lazy. The purpose of this is to find your natural sleep rhythm that's specific to you. You will probably not be surprised to know that everyone has different sleeping patterns. From night shift workers to people who have adapted to live in countries with short daylight hours, such as Iceland, everyone has a specific time of day that they prefer to sleep. The trick is to finding a sweet spot where you can get 8 to 10 hours of deep sleep and wake up feeling amazing, productive, and ready to tackle the day. Give it a try. try sleeping at different times and monitor how you feel afterwards. Do you feel energized or more tired? You may need to do this experiment over a month or so and see the results. The better quality sleep you get, the more chance you will have of encouraging a growth spurt. Having done this exercise myself, I can tell you that my optimal time for sleep is going to bed around midnight and then waking up about 8:30 in the morning. Strategy number 2, eat 1.2 times your usual amount of calories. Growth spurts need energy to grow, and if you do not have enough calories available, then you will not grow to your maximum potential height. Many people may be unsure how to track calories using an app like MyFitnessPal, as they may not be able to track meals prepared by their family. In that case, just try to get one extra meal per day. It's especially useful if it's high in protein and carbohydrates, rather than just having a bar of chocolate or a piece of cake. For everyone else, work out your daily calories by tracking what you eat on MyFitnessPal. Then, once you have an idea of how many calories you're currently consuming, times that number by 1.2. That number will be your new calorie goal. So, for example, I usually eat between 2,500 to 3,000 calories per day. So what I would do is take the higher number of 3,000 and times that by 1.2 to give me a new daily calorie goal of 3,600 calories. If you feel like you're putting on excess body fat due to the increase in calories, then slowly dial back the number until you find the right balance. Strategy number 3. Do an intense cardio exercise every 2 days for 25 to 30 minutes. Having a tip-top cardiovascular system is essential for growing taller. It will not only maximise our ability to convert energy in to energy out, but it will also help regulate our hormones so that we have the perfect foundations for growth spurts to blossom. Now, I know it's not possible to get to a gym, but let me demonstrate a cardio exercise that I myself have been utilising while the gyms have been shut. So one of my favourite pieces of cardio equipment in the gym is the Stairmaster. When we all went into lockdown, I was trying to find a way I could possibly replicate it. Luckily, I remembered a place that my girlfriend took me to last Christmas that had a huge staircase that used to be an old railway track. Now, it takes roughly about 4.5 minutes for me to reach the summit. So what I did was I decided that to replicate my usual 20-minute Stairmaster cardio, I would walk up it 4 times. So all in all, I get about 18 minutes of solid cardio, not including the walks down. Sometimes in these situations you really do have to get creative. Probably one of the best intense cardios you can do, especially in lockdown, is skipping. Now I'm going to demonstrate 3 variations of skipping, starting with the easiest, which is this one. So this is just your basic skip. There should be a slight gap between your feet, and as you get better at this exercise, you'll definitely be able to speed up the pace. One thing that I found useful when starting skipping was just to do a minute on and then a minute off. And as you get better at this, what I do now is I'll just skip for a whole song and then I'll have 30 seconds or maybe a minute's rest. So we're on to the next variable, which is the side step skipping variable. And as you can see, my feet are just switching side to side. And this seems to be the most natural progression from the first one. I think for other people, maybe they might put the feet forwards and backwards. But for me, it was always the side to side. And I think for a lot of my friends, it was always like the side step. Now the third variation is a technique that you see a lot of boxers doing. In fact, it's the same technique that you perhaps would have seen in the Rocky films. It's a bit of a optical illusion. It looks more impressive than it actually is. What you're actually doing is bouncing on one foot and then switching to the other foot. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or you could think of it as 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch. When you're doing it, it seems a lot more logical than just watching it. When you're watching it, it looks magical, but when you're doing it, it seems more logical. Now, if you don't have anywhere you can skip, like a back garden or yard, then you'll have to do it elsewhere. This is just a spot that I found in the woods where I was doing my steps, and I just found a nice flat rock that I could do it on. Now, I want to mention that it's going to be a lot tougher on a hard surface compared to decking, which is what I was skipping on in the 3 variables. But still, it's definitely possible because I can still do the 3rd variation on this rock. It'll just take practice, and perhaps it is a little bit more punishing on your shins, but you do get used to it. Now, the 3rd and final suggestion I have for the high intense cardio, maybe you don't like skipping, or maybe you just don't have any coordination. This one everyone should be able to do. So I'm just doing it in the street. Luckily, there's a nice little island in the middle of the street. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to do laps. So using my car as a starting point, or using a lamppost as a starting point, once you've passed it, you know that you've done 1 lap. And then you could either do 1 lap jogging and then 1 lap sprinting, or 2 laps jogging and then 2 laps sprinting. It's up to you. Other possibilities include shadow boxing, jumping jacks, or star jumps as we call them here in the UK, and sprint cycling. So you need to do one of these exercises every 2 days. So that will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then it will be different the week after because there's obviously only 7 days in a week and we're doing it every 2 days. So the week after, so you'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then you'll go to Tuesday, Thursday,
Saturday, Monday.
You could even choose to do different exercises on different days as a whole body combination. But for me personally, I just like to stick with one because I feel with sticking with one particular exercise, I can see the improvements that I'm making, whether that be time or whether it be my heart rate, etc. But I'll leave it up to you. Strategy number 4. On the days that you're not doing your intense cardio, I want you to walk for 1 hour or 5,000 steps. This will be a nice refreshing change from the intense cardio the day before, and it will also train the slow twitch muscle fibers as opposed to the fast twitch muscle fibers. During your walk, try not to focus too much on outside interference. Go somewhere beautiful and look around as you stroll. Use this time not only for recovery for the body, but also recovery for the mind. With all the negativity going on around the world, it's nice to be grounded in something real and remind ourselves of the most simple miracles. Look up at a tree and try to imagine how long it's actually been there for. Watch insects as they go about their busy lives in a daily effort to survive, not at all worried about the coronavirus. In the moment, we too can forget about these worldly troubles and focus on ourselves. It's a liberating feeling, and it will make you feel more connected to nature the more that you do it. So, in essence, this is a mental and also physical break, where every 2 days you can hit the reset switch and forget about everything else around you. A strong and healthy mind will help reduce stress, which is one of the leading reasons that people waste their potential growth spurts. For me personally, I love to walk around the forest where I do my intense cardio. On the cardio days, I'm truly focused on my body and my breathing, so I don't get a chance to take in all the wonders of the forest. But on those days where I do go for a walk, I can listen to the birds singing. I can watch squirrels as they jump from branch to branch, collecting nuts. and I can begin to clear out all the negative influences on my mind. I love it. Strategy number 5, stretching. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do a full yoga class every day, but I would like you to do 2 grow taller stretches that perhaps you're not so good at, or ones that you would like to improve on. For me, since I've grown taller, I've not stretched much at all. I know, but it's just not my favourite thing to do. Maybe because I'm naturally not a supple person, I'm not sure. But the 2 stretches I have always struggled with, even when I was growing taller, are the double-legged forward bend and also the touch toes exercise. Try to hold the stretches for 25 to 30 seconds and do 10 sets of each stretch. So in total, you'll be doing 20 stretches. Now, I will leave it entirely up to you where you fit them in, as long as you do them every 2 days. For many people, they like to do their stretching as soon as they wake up, but that's just not for me. I need to do my stretches once I'm warmed up and primed first. For me personally, they fit perfectly after my intense cardio or 1 hour walk, but it's entirely up to you. Stretching will prevent the muscles from becoming shorter and will also increase the blood flow to them. This also helps the body recognise that you wish to be taller. It will also iron out any kinks in the muscle and make you more supple, thus helping towards your next growth spurt. So this is the touch toes stretch. Now, I haven't done this for ages, so it's taken me a while to get to this point. And you want your feet roughly about shoulder width apart, and then all you're going to do is literally just try and touch your toes with your fingertips. For many people, they'll probably be able to go a lot further than I can. I'm awful at stretching, and you can really see it. I can see me come up there, I'm like, oh my god, this is so hard. I actually find weights or any kind of weight training so much easier than stretching. It's very, very difficult, and I remember it kind of took me back to a time where I was growing taller and it was just so difficult, but so worth it, obviously. But I've got to say that I haven't really stretched much since. So this is the double-legged forward bend. Now, remember that when you actually go for the stretch to breathe out, and then when you come back to breathe in, you can take short breaths, obviously, while you're still stretching. You don't want to suffocate your body of oxygen, but that one big deep breath that you take before you actually perform the stretch should be taken before you attempt the movement. Keep rest times 30 seconds to 1 minute. Strategy number 6, hangs. Now, hangs have become increasingly more difficult with gyms, parks and community centres going into lockdown. If you want to do a full body hang and continue to use ankle weights, then you will have to find an alternative like I did. In the forest, where I go for my walks and do my intense cardio, I went for a hunt to find a branch that I could fully hang from. In all honesty, it took me about 5 minutes to find one. There was plenty of branches to choose from, and if I'd had something like a folding chair or a box, I could have chose some branches that were much higher. Anyways, what I would like you to do is to hang every 2 days for 4 minutes. Now, that may sound easy, but that's a total hang time of 4 minutes. Granted, it will be harder when the branches are thicker, similar to the one that I used. So, how you split it will depend on your ability. If you're just starting out, then you may only be able to hang for about 10 seconds before you need a break, in which case you'll be doing 24 sets of 10-second hangs. Whereas if you can hang for 1 minute without needing a break, then it will only take you 4 sets. Ideally, it would be perfect to be able to do a 4-minute hang for one set, but obviously that's very, very difficult. How you break it down is up to you. You'll probably find that your first few attempts you will be able to last longer as you are fresh, compared to the latter attempts where you're really losing grip and
your forearms are just gone.
So here we are in the forest, and as you can see, that is my chosen branch. A little bit of a hazard warning. There is potential that the branch could snap, so do try and choose your branches carefully. And also I would say definitely wear a pair of gloves for that extra grip to make sure when you do jump, you do actually connect. There is a chance that if you don't have a chair or folding box, then you might not succeed on your first attempt. But if you do not succeed, then try and try again. I think my mistake was I completely misjudged the shape of the branch, so I actually needed more finger grip than I was used to with a pull-up bar. Another thing you could try is perhaps getting a friend to lift you up to the bar. That way you would actually be able to half test whether the branch was safe or not. So you could put half your weight on it, and then if it does snap, then at least your friend's there to catch you just in case. I think I attempt a little pull-up here. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, showing off. So yeah, 4 minutes of total hanging. Hanging is really important as it allows the body to fully decompress. It also helps the cartilage between the vertebrae to thicken, thus making your torso longer over time. It will also send messages to your body that you wish to be taller and prolong your growth spurt. You may choose to combine your hanging with your cardio or your stretching or even your 1 hour walks, depending on your commitments and how convenient it is. For example, because it takes me 30 minutes to drive to that forest, then I would combine my hangs with either my 1 hour walk or my cardio, and then perhaps do my stretching when I get home. And finally, strategy number 7, drink warm water every 30 minutes. Now, it's widely accepted that you should be drinking about 2 litres of water every single day, and that also includes teas, coffees, and such things as cordials. But there are 2 great benefits to drinking warm water. Number 1, it can get absorbed into your system faster as it doesn't need to heat the water up to match your body temperature. And number 2, it can help you battle coronavirus. Now, by no means is this a cure, but the benefits far outweigh those of cold water alone. It can also help the digestion process, which is necessary for getting the most out of the foods in our diet. Drinking warm water will also help all those general aches and pains that you may get from time to time with all the new exercises and routines you'll be following to grow taller. By having the burden of not fully knowing who has coronavirus, one of the best things we can do is to stay hydrated and to wash our hands regularly. But we can use this fear to our advantage. If we feel that there is a real threat on the horizon, by not drinking our 2 litres of warm water, there is no doubt we will stick to it and be in a greater position with our health to be able to respond to a growth spurt. So, if you're awake for roughly 16 hours of the day, then that's 125 millilitres of warm water every 30 minutes. So, give it a try. You'll be more hydrated and be in a better position to increase your height. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. And please don't forget to sign up for that 4-part video series in the link below that will show you how to encourage a second or even third growth spurt right now. The link in the description box will only last for the next 10 days, so don't delay. And that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. So until next time, stay safe and
wash your hands.